Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Power Women in Insurance podcast. My name is Teresa Kitchens, your host. And here's the deal. We are talking today with Carie and Roach. She's with IIAT, a lot of I's in there. And we are excited to be able to talk about insurance from a little bit of a different perspective. In this podcast, we talk to a lot of agency owners. We talk to people in sales. We talk to people in account management in different areas of insurance. But Carie Ann is doing some different things with the state association, with helping out with the insurance information across the country with the state organizations and such. So we're excited to be able to have Carie Ann on the podcast today. Carie Ann, welcome.
Well, thank you. I'm so excited to be here. Love it.
Well, we are super excited to be able to have you. So everybody can get to know you a little bit. I know that you are in Texas, and so tell me a little bit about your background in insurance and kind of how you got where you are today.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Yes, well, I've been in the business now 34 years. I
Nice.
live in South Texas. I have always participated on the agency side. I actually started in high school and worked after school and in the summers. I backed up the phone. I ran the mail. I did all the things. The filing back then, it was all paper and all that.
Yes.
And over time, grew through the industry and elevated my position and my capabilities throughout. So I've been all the way from, I'm going to call it file clerk or receptionist and what have you to learn, and then up to CEO, president, commercial lines manager, personal lines manager. I've produced, done the variety of things in an agency. At the association, I love it because now I can serve agents across our state who that are our members. Customized consulting. That includes leadership consulting. It includes mentorship. It includes processes and workflows, all the things related. Supporting our lobbyists, with insurance knowledge when there are bills filed in our Texas legislature, how do those bills impact either positively or negatively our clients, our consumers, and
Mhm.
or our agencies? Always being that cheerleader for our independent agents, their entire staff, everyone is integral, and it's a fabulous career. So yeah, that's
I
it
love
in
it. I
summary.
love it. And if anybody
Thanks.
looks like Carrie Ann up on LinkedIn or other
Yep.
areas, you'll see she has a lot of initials behind her name, a lot, because you have, and I just want to make sure because these are not easy to get. These are not none
Uh,
of these. I mean, this is the definition I think to me of lifelong learner, and I can just totally see that. So you have your CIC, your
yes.
CPCU, your
Yes.
CRM, your MBA, your
Yes.
CRIS, which I'm not even sure I know what that is, ACSR, and your CISR. You have a
Okay.
lot of amazing education behind you. I love it.
You.
You are definitely dedicated to the industry, and you've obviously put your CE to a good position and really learned a lot about the industry.
I appreciate that. And it I I was I'm gonna guess, and I think this is why, I was raised with a very strong work ethic. My family had pecan farms. We also had a construction business. I was driving a tractor on our pecan farm at 8 years old.
Wow.
So what I learned was in order to truly, at least for my perspective, to truly be able to add value to help elevate someone else, whether it's a customer, whether it's a coworker, doesn't matter. Knowledge is everything. I need to learn
Mhm.
more. I need to do my best to be the best at what I do. And and putting myself to the work, to putting my
Mhm.
brain to work, to better understand, to broaden my knowledge so that I can then further share it, right?
I
And
love
that
that.
was the goal, is if people are going to rely on me as a leader, as a manager, as an account manager, it doesn't matter what it is. I need to know as much as I can about what I'm doing, be
Yeah.
very well rounded. And so I took that upon myself to keep going. I'm always curious, and you're right. In my opinion, as leaders, as folks that add value in our business today, never stop learning,
Yeah.
especially women. Knowledge will elevate women in this business. It can add credibility to those that you talk to that may have maybe out of date values or perspectives on women in business. And I think that that knowledge will help all of us as women have very intelligent conversations, very well rounded conversations. It helps build trust, which is
Yeah.
everything, right? So that
Yeah.
that really is it. I never stop learning. I'm actually working on the transportation risk insurance specialist designation program through ERMI right now, primarily
Wow.
because I've been working with insurance agents that want to specialize in trucking. We understand there's so much nuance in our business, and there's no reason to not fully understand or act or try to just gain all the knowledge I
Yep.
can. I encourage women in our business to read a book, a business related book, an insurance related book. If take 15 to 20 minutes every morning and study a coverage that maybe you feel like you're not that strong in, but keeps coming up for you. Um,
Mm.
do that. Just take 20 minutes. Do it before you start work or do it your first 20 minutes of your job. And then apply it because you will get a phone call where you can apply what you learned and it makes us more efficient. We're
Yeah.
more
Yeah.
efficient, and the more efficient we are, the more we can handle, the more we can evolve and evolve our team. So, a huge proponent of that. I love to mentor people in this business. When, as you know, we need talent. We need new talent. We're an
Mhm.
aging industry. So, love to mentor, love to guide, because obviously we all make mistakes. I've made mistakes along the
Mhm.
way and had to learn and go, I don't want that to happen again. How
Right.
do I learn more about that and apply some different techniques tactically to improve?
I love that. I love that. So let's talk for just a minute about that mentoring piece, because I know that you work with a lot of agencies, you work with, like you said, legislature, you work with a lot
Yeah.
of a lot of that, and you're putting all that knowledge and you're helping agencies, you're consulting with agencies. So what are you seeing out there? Because I think one of the loneliest things about what we do is the fact that we're not a part of some big corporation, and we don't want to be a part of a big corporation, but at the same point getting that support, that knowledge, that not just the education, because of course we have different places you can get that, but at the same point, that community, that almost the requiring for being able to level us up and to be able to make us better every year over year. I think a lot of either agency owners or account managers, salespeople can really kind
Yeah.
of get in a rhythm and maybe even a rut to where we're not getting that mentorship, that education, that leveling up ability that we need to give our clients. So how do you, as far as mentoring and so forth, and really connecting with agencies through your consulting and everything, what do you find is the hardest thing for people? What is the biggest barrier? I guess that's what I'm trying to ask. What is the biggest barrier that people have in being able to get that mentor? Because I think people are afraid to ask. I think people don't know where to go. But what are you seeing really in the industry about people asking for help? Because we have to ask more fervently, in my opinion, being an
Yeah.
independent agents in the independent side of the world, because we don't just
Yeah.
have a corporation telling us that we have to go do this.
Right, 100%. And great questions there. The biggest barrier, in my opinion, is ourselves.
Yep.
It is a confidence issue sometimes. Sometimes it's that fear of, well, I don't want them to know what I don't know. And I think what's important to understand is we are human beings and there is no such thing as perfection.
Mhm.
We didn't learn to walk without someone helping to hold us up and catching us when we fall.
Yeah.
It's constant growth. It's okay to think, where do I need to improve? There is nothing wrong with that. In fact, everything is right with that because every single individual, whether it's your boss, your coworker, it doesn't matter. Carie, Roach, Teresa, we all have areas that we need to improve.
Yep.
That never ends, and that's okay. And once we accept that about ourselves, then we can lean into identifying where did I stumble? I wonder
Mm.
why that was. Who can I ask? Who do you ask? The people that you trust that you see successful in the business. If you trust them, you admire them, take a minute to say, I really like what you've done here. And I want to grow in that area too. What do you suggest? And
Yeah.
let me just add this, and I know I don't want to get on my soapbox. CE is just that.
Yeah.
CE ruined. I had a conversation with Carl Sherrill the other day at the Southern Agents Conference about this. We agree that CE really ruined insurance education because
Really? Why is that?
one,
Why do you feel that
yeah,
way?
I think because it has capped it to this is
Mm.
what's required. Oh, this is all I need to do. I've known or heard of agents that will, um, just ask their people to do the minimum required for CE, and that's the downfall. Those
Just get it
minimums
done,
have to,
right? That just get it
yeah,
done. You have a date, right? At that
get it
deadline.
done.
You just
Yeah,
have to
and
just
it
go get it done, right?
right. And so the quality may not be there, right?
Yeah.
The quality of what we're learning, the value that's in it, has now been disregarded.
Yeah.
Now it's just, I need my hours. That is incorrect. That is a failure, in my opinion, in our industry. It should never be about that. CE should be secondary. In fact, the knowledge we're gaining should be above and beyond whatever those CE requirements are, because it's about our own individual growth and how much value we can add to someone else. And quite frankly, the value you can add to yourself.
Absolutely. I can't agree more. And we actually had a conversation with my team because of course we're recording this, everybody. It's December 19th. So we're in the middle of the end of the year,
Yeah.
but at the same point, we're not quite over that hump yet, right? So
Yep.
you've done the business planning, right? You've done your, hey, what are your goals for 2025? You've done your all these different things. And when I think we're doing that, we're also seeing that our team is scrunching in that CE at the last, like, 30
Yes.
30 days, right? And they've got 20 24 hours, whatever, that they need to make sure that they do. And and all of a sudden it's just, I got to get on web CE and I got to go do it. And that's fine.
Hmm.
There's nothing wrong with that. There's a
Right.
lot of good value in web CE, there is. But how
Yep.
many people have done web CE 15 times? You know what I mean? I mean, how
Right.
many people have done the same web CE program 5 or 6 times and they aren't growing, they aren't getting that additional information? So we've actually said, hey, everybody has to have so many hours per year, and it splits it up. And then the concept is they have to come to me and tell me what they're going to be doing by
Right.
generally around the first of the year. So that way they at least have a plan. We know we can
Yeah.
hold each other accountable if they're working on a certification, if they want to start working on a certification. Um,
Great.
we have some of those conversations, but we've really identified that in my agency, it's been a problem. Like, we had two people had their license renewed this year. They're both up to the wire on it.
Yeah.
I'm working on my CIC, so I'm taking some, but I got to figure out how to balance the courses and all that with everything else that I'm doing. So, I mean, it's one of those things I don't think people really think of, because I agree with you. I think CE has become one of those things that you just have to check off your list of things to get
Yeah.
done to renew your license.
Right. That's a great point. And yes, WebC is great. I mean, just like on our IAT website for our members, you click on education. There's so much out there, and we're constantly producing more content with our partners. And I think when we are in that predicament of, oh my gosh, I have to get my hours in before. Good. All right, noted. What is it that we can study when we're getting those hours that will add the most value to me?
Yes.
Don't make it about getting the hours in. Let's get as much value as possible out of those hours that we need to get, right? Let's just make it more meaningful and helpful to us. And you can do that through WebCE, right? By choosing those that, for example, I had an account manager a couple of months ago, and same predicament, got to get the hours in. But now this account manager is become responsible for farm and ranch in their agency. Farm and ranch is that weird, funky hybrid, right? Between like personal and commercial lines. It's not super standardized.
Yeah.
And so it's like, what should I do? There's courses out there, and there's one through WebCE, and it was tiered, right? There's three. She could get all her hours. She could get some fundamental education in farm and ranch. So now we're doing two things.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
just making it more purposeful. Get intentional and strategic about it. Cool, you need to knock out the hours. Great. What is it that you're going to learn? And learn from it, and then apply it and teach everyone else too as you
Love
go
that.
along. And
Yeah.
now you're getting excited. You're getting excited about CE instead of annoyed. We get annoyed.
Yes.
time for
We
this.
do. We do. I agree with you. We do get annoyed. It's like, oh, I got to get it done.
Yeah, exhausting. It's like, wait, it's a hard market. We know this. Being an insurance agent, you got to have grit, especially if you're a woman. You better have grit. And we don't have time. But the thing is, that knowledge, getting it should be our priority.
Yes.
Should
Yeah.
be.
I
Because
completely
otherwise,
agree.
we're stagnant and we think, but I don't have time. Yes, you do. Let's work as a team and get you some backup so you can work on this for 1 day or 2 days because
Yeah.
it's important to your growth. It's important to my growth. It's important for us to support each other in our growth because we will grow our book, better serve our clients,
Yep.
right? And elevate ourselves and upskill ourselves. Let's just kill all those birds with one stone.
Yep, yep. Well, and I think too, if we really look, a lot of people's careers change over time. Like you said, some people like they migrate into maybe a different department, right? They want to pick up something. Maybe they get bored with personal lines and they want to branch out into
Yep.
farm and ranch or something, whatever it is, right? And sometimes our companies move us around, or like you've done, some people need a change in their career. And so they go from the agency side maybe to a different side of the industry because there's so many
True.
different sides of this industry that sometimes if we don't allow ourselves to have that knowledge and that expanse in our thinking, we can't go anywhere else because we didn't get that education. But you're a great example with all the education you've gotten, with all the conversations you've had, with everything you implement. You've been able to have a very diversified career in the insurance world while you've done lots of different things and served not only clients but also the industry and agents themselves through your work with IIAT.
Yes, thank you. I think too, it's about recognizing and maybe changing some mindset. For
Mm-hmm.
example, as account managers, as support people, the ones that are on the front lines, right, every
Uh-huh.
single day, it's easy to get disillusioned, to get disappointed, especially with our market today. But the reality is this: every one of us can learn from every single person that we encounter.
Mm-hmm.
We can learn something from they could be a complete jerk. That happens. Of course it does. What can we learn from that? Maybe we learn, I don't want to be that way. I'll
Yeah.
become more self-aware about my
Yep.
attitude when I'm on the phone, when I'm sending an email. What can I learn from this? Do I learn that someone else also has stresses and someone else is also having to deal with things that I don't know about?
Yeah.
How can I help them through this one thing, right? We can always learn from everyone that we come in contact with. And I really feel that they're brought to us for a reason. We
Mm-hmm.
just need to be more self-aware and understand that. And in fact, I think that helps our own attitude. What will I encounter today that will make me better? And what can I do to give a gift to someone else that they didn't expect? And once that mindset is there, we begin to get a little bit more excited. And we're
Mm-hmm.
not as annoyed at CE.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I love to, and I want to get this out there for anyone who hasn't read Fierce Conversations by Susan Scott. I think is just incredibly helpful, especially for women, because there are hard conversations we need to have with everyone:
Yep.
our boss, our coworkers, our spouses, our friends, our colleagues, our customers, all of that. And Fierce Conversations will really help everyone, I think, be able to address the things that are the elephant in the room that
Mm-hmm.
prevent us from going forward. So
Yes.
I that is a book that truly helped me. It's available on audio. If you don't want to sit and read a book, but you have a commute to work or whatever the case, or you're driving to
Yep.
grandma's
I
house
love
for three
Audible.
hours,
And
get it
on
on.
Audible, just so everybody knows, you can
Yeah,
listen to it. And people always, it blows people's minds whenever they get in my car because whenever I put on Audible, I read it, I listen to it at 2 times speed. So it's
yeah.
almost like somebody's talking like this. So we're going really quite fast. But the key is that when you do it for like 3 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes, and you just let your brain acclimate, you can take it in really easily. It's not complicated. You just need to, when people first hear it, they freak out and then they just need to settle into it. So if people do have a commute to work, if people want to be able to start really trying to power through more books in a year, if people want to be able to get more content, more information, to be able to speed that speed up a little bit is great. And I drive down to Austin on a not really regular basis, but fairly regular basis. I have an office down there, and I love the drive because I'll just like put on a book, and I've got 6 7 hours where I can just, on the back down and back, where I can just plow through a book, and it keeps me riveted. And they're business books. It's not like they're fiction or whatever. I love them. I love that environment for being able to just plow through books. I almost think maybe I need to drive down to Austin more frequently. I used to go down once a month
Right,
when I first had the office down there, but now everybody
right.
down there is pretty settled, and I'm down there like once a quarter. And I really wish I missed that time. You
Yeah,
know,
that windshield time is so valuable.
it
Oh,
is.
you're so right. And for those, I found myself with the audio, I replay the book. I might finish it, but I want to hear it again. And
Yes.
sometimes it's three times because there may be some snippets that I missed because my mind will wander, right? But it's always there for you to replay. If you're reorganizing your closet or what have you, play it on your phone and put some earbuds in.
Yes.
And I think that just some of that will sink in whether you realize or not, and everything's beneficial in that regard. You're right. Never stop. I think um these books, there's so much knowledge out there. There's so much expertise. And it's look, they're available at the secondhand bookstores too. It's
Mm-hmm.
available at thrift stores. This isn't doesn't have to be an expensive
True.
thing to do at all. For those that don't want to subscribe to Audible, just use if you have an iPhone, there's a book app on there.
Libraries. I mean, libraries have tons
Yeah,
of these business books because they're very well known. I mean, if you get into really, and a lot of the libraries too, if people want to do it more in a community, you can do it like there are business book clubs at libraries, and then there's also, different book clubs, on Facebook or, other places
yeah,
where they'll do
right.
like chats about, like, you don't have to like attend a book club, right? Like they'll do these types of things. And I think too, people in different Facebook groups for like agency owners or this, that, or the other, sometimes we'll get together and do different chats about various books and things like that, just to get other people's
Nice.
perspective on what they heard.
Right.
There's so much value in that.
I love that. Book clubs within agencies, we actually do that at IIAT. And our leadership team is going through one right now, which is a dichotomy of leadership. And it's fantastic. It's one of those where you want the hard copy of it, or
Yeah.
so that you can take your notes and what have you. But, I think that a lot of times people in agencies don't see themselves as leaders. And the reality is
Mhm.
there are so many leaders hiding in there, and maybe they don't realize they are.
Yeah.
One thing I love that we do at IIT with agencies is we can evaluate their Clifton strengths, the working genius that Pat Lencioni did. These are not expensive. Okay. Any one of us can go in and do, I think it's around $20 for the Clifton Strengths um, examination, if you
Okay.
will, on ourselves. Working Genius is fantastic. You can Google that. You can go, I think it's like $20 or $25, and you can do that yourself on yourself. And what that does is simplify what motivates you, what gets you excited, and it will help explain why we're frustrated sometimes in what our tasks are. Oh, well, no wonder I'm
Mhm.
competent at it, but that doesn't light my fire. No wonder I'm so annoyed because the primary role of my job is something that really I'm not built for. Maybe we can adjust some tasks and
Mhm.
roles to further elevate our team. And it's just amazing. We can do a deeper dive with Colby, and can do that for your entire organization. The more we understand about ourselves and the more we understand about others leads us to tolerance, understanding,
Mhm.
trust, and being able to spread tasks for the greater good of the individual, right? In their own heart and their own soul and what they're doing, and ultimately for our organization. So there's so much out there that in reality pays dividends for years.
Yeah.
It,
Yeah.
it does. And man, I just can't stop getting the word out enough. So yeah, I'm happy to mentor, right? If
I
you
love
if
that.
anyone feels like they want to run something by me or just have a conversation, that is a gift to me to be able to provide what I know. And if there's something I don't, then I want to learn about it and share it. So email me, Roach, Roach, at IIAT.org. My direct phone number, 512-493-2402. Just do that. Our whole goal, when the reason I'm part of this association, is to add value to agents out there and everybody who participates inside of an agency. Our jobs
Mhm.
aren't easy, but there's so many resources.
There are. And I think one of the things that we've talked about on a couple of these podcasts, sometimes these podcasts get into like a theme. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah,
Like things kind of come up kind of in a pattern, right? And one of the things I was talking about with somebody last week was really realizing that everybody is a leader, that we don't think of ourselves as a leader because we don't have maybe a director of or a
right,
manager position. But one of the things we have to understand is as a no matter what it is that we do, we are a leader in our area, in our environment, in our community. You're either leading a client through a conversation, you're leading maybe a team member through a policy or something that they're doing. You're helping another agency owner, a new account manager, maybe an older account manager that you're helping out with maybe some things that they need to kind of work through or whatever. But every conversation we have and in our lives just across the board we have that opportunity to help people. How many times have we encountered situations where we have a conversation with somebody, maybe we don't tell them that that conversation changed us in certain ways, but then maybe we go home and we process it and we have these thoughts in our head about that's a really interesting idea. And maybe they have themes that pop up in their life repetitively that your one off conversation added to. And then all of a sudden they go, oh, okay, yeah, all right, that works. And so then at that point, then they take it. But in that moment, you've been that leader to them because you said something or experienced something or had a conversation about something that changed them inside. And we don't always get that big kudos moment where people go, oh
right.
my gosh, you just changed my life. And we don't get that all the time, right?
Yes,
And it's not, and I always say life is not a rom-com to where we're having a conversation with somebody and they go, oh my gosh, you're completely right. I'm wrong. And it's not like the movies, right? And we think that's what we need to be. But we get
right.
confused because we think that's what leadership is. It's this big aha moment that somebody's going to have directly in front of us, like on Grey's Anatomy, and we're going to be able to go off on them for 4 minutes, and then all of a sudden they go, oh my gosh, you're so right. And it doesn't happen that way, but we are
No,
leaders every day in everything that we do. And i i,
you,
I just want to make sure everybody hears that.
you nailed it. You're exactly right. And I think, when we're on the phone with our customer, we're the leader there. Okay, we are the leader in that moment. It is our job to educate them about
Mhm.
the policies, about the quotes, about the options, the state of the industry, the state of the market, right? We are a leader to everyone we encounter. There's something that they want or need or could utilize that we could provide.
Yes.
You nailed it 100%. And you may not know that you made that level of
Right.
impression, and that's okay. That doesn't matter. But 9 times out of 10, you did make an impression. Did it add value? John Maxwell has taught me that over the years. As I've studied him and I read all of his business books and what have you, is, man, it's all about adding value. And that's what
Mhm.
leadership truly is.
True, true, true. And it is totally about just listening, being present,
Yep.
giving your gift to people, and like you said, just bringing value and then just letting it be. You don't have to control where it goes, what it does, or the timeline that it takes root into people. I think that's another thing is we need to let go of our desire to see a result kind of thing, is that we need to
Right.
understand it's out there and it's going to make a change. Number one,
Right.
we may never know it. Number two, we don't need to know it. Number three, it may be something that down the road we're a part of that we never will be able to see the end of it. But that's part of being a part of humanity.
Yeah, that's a great point too. And you're right. We won't always see the conclusion, but if we change our focus. We're not going to worry about that. We're just
Yeah.
going to handle it in the moment, do the very best we can to serve and add value. And at the end of the day, we don't know where that will end up, but we can feel good that we've done everything that we
Yeah.
possibly could.
Yeah.
And just because something comes across as a negative, it's not always a negative. That's happening for a reason. Well, what can we do to improve this situation for somebody else? And in doing so, we improve ourselves, I think.
Yeah.
So you're right. It's leadership is not about the kudos or going, oh, you're so great and thank you. No, that's not what it's about. What tends to happen is that we get more responsibility.
Yeah. Yeah. But you
And
might not want to leave because you don't want to necessarily have more responsibility. So everybody just keep that in mind too.
yeah, that's a great point. And the thing is that people will be drawn to those
Yeah.
that do a great job of serving others and being self-aware, how
Mhm.
we respond, emotionally intelligent in every aspect, everybody that we encounter in work and in our personal lives. And when there's all this information out there that you can learn, and then we go, how do I apply that to myself again to do better? I'm not going to worry about someone else's issues, right? Let
Yep.
they can do that on their own. But if there's something I can offer to them that would help them elevate, then absolutely 100%. I think we're all responsible for that.
We are. We are. I completely agree. Well, Carie Ann, you've been amazing and you are
Thank
doing great things
you.
with IIAT. I encourage
Thank
everybody to get
you.
involved in your state and local organizations. I know, like in Texas, we have IIAT. We also have, like, I'm in Dallas, IIAD. They have usually
Yep.
like state and regional type areas as well. So do make sure that you reach on out, get involved in your local communities, in your local areas, because that is where there's so much education. There's mentors, there's people who can help you. That's where you're really going to connect maybe with those agencies that are further along in that process,
Right.
maybe than you have been. And you can get a lot of good inspiration. So everybody go on out there and check out your state association as well. And
Woohoo!
you're wonderful.
So are you. Thank you for having me, Teresa. Thanks, guys. Godspeed.
All right. Now, Carie, remind everybody, I know you told everybody earlier, but remind us, how can we reach you if we want to be able to talk to you again?
Okay, email is croach, ROACH, at IIAT.org. My direct line is 512. I have to look at it because I don't call myself. 512-493-2402. Independent Insurance Agents of Texas. Give me a shout.
I love it. I love it. Well, everybody, this has been another amazing episode of the Power Women in Insurance podcast. And we are with the Power Woman, Carie Ann Roach. Do make
Woo!
sure you look her up, check out your state associations, look at all the resources that they offer you, and make sure that you check out our podcast every single Wednesday where we talk to another amazing woman in the insurance space. And we are here to be able to help you to be able to get the career that you've always dreamed of inside the insurance space. So,
That's
everybody, I
right.
will talk to you next week.
Bye, guys. Bye, Teresa. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.